NCRP Productions presents Unhallowed Metropolis, Secrets in the Sands, Episode 34. Good evening, and welcome to Unhallowed Metropolis, Secrets in the Sands. This is Barry, your Game Master. I'm going to let everyone introduce themselves, and we're going to start.
Hey everybody, it's Pedro playing Dr. Desmond Wright, the Reborn.
Hi, it's Sequoia, and I'm running Frankie the Undertaker.
Hello everyone, I'm Ty, and I'm running Callahan, our Pugilist.
Hello, I'm Michael. I'm playing Dr. Everett Wolfe, the doctor specializing in alchemy and chemistry, and hold on to your suspension of disbelief because it's about to take a frickin' beating.
I'm playing Dr. Ayden. He specializes in trolling and fuckery.
I'm Jill, and I'm playing Raya the Mourner.
Last week, well, lots of stuff happened last week. Dr. Wright was fully healed. Dr. Wright went to go help, well, almost fully healed. Dr. Wright went to go help the Bedouins of the Jakar family, the tribe. He was able to do some for the men that were there, the 4 that were injured. His hope is that they will all pull through, at least from his work. You guys came back to the cave. You were able to trade for a kitty saddle, or a beginner's saddle, or a training saddle. I don't think we've given it a name yet, but you guys do have it with you. And when Dr. Wright returned, Frankie and Raya had been around Dr. Wolfe's body, which had been sweating and did not look well. Dr. Wright's work on it had led to no new ideas, at which point he started trying to give him water from the cistern. Dr. Wolfe vomited. And then we step into the other world. Dr. Wolfe has been in and out of dreams. We know this outside of the game. Dr. Wolfe believes they were real because they keep being accurate things that make some sense. We went through a few of them. The last one, however, being the most painful and gruesome, Dr. Wolfe had felt that he was ready to sit up and see who else was in the cave and what was going on. And his sitting up tore his skeleton out of the skin. So we will begin there. Dr. Wolfe, as you come up, the pain is excruciating. You can actually see as the skin sloughs away from you, you can see the viscera that connects to the bones. The blood pours down. You are out. Now, I'm not going to just assume. Give me an intellect roll.
I'm going to re-roll that. That's a lot better. That's 18.
And then composure-wise, how are we doing with the throat? Let's make a roll there.
Yeah. I'm okay.
All right. So there's a part of your brain that says to you, if all the skin were to have torn off, the eyeballs would not remain in my head. So for the first time, you got a cognitive dissonance between what you're seeing and what's going on. But it sure feels real. The pain is excruciating.
Yeah, I mean, there's that rational thought, but it doesn't stop the pain as I just start screaming. And, there's, me wrapping at my face, and, there's just nothing but skull meat and everything. And
exactly.
And there's no way I'm making a sound, and I know I don't have a vocal cords or anything like that. What is happening?
As you're watching down, those parts, as you were talking about, are starting to fall down. The parts of the front of your throat, the trachea, a lot of the internal viscera. You can see your...
my eyeballs pop out.
No. Eyeballs did not yet pop out, but you do see your tonsils slough down across the front of your chest. You can look down as your heart, your lungs start to pile onto the remainder of the organs, which spill out through the opening at the front of the chest. You are currently sitting. Do you do anything else?
I'm looking at Wright, who's... I don't know what the Wright and...
Wright is now backing up in horror. He stood up and he is stepping slowly away from you. And he's apologizing. My boy, I didn't think this would happen.
What did you do to me? What did you do to me?
You're in sitting mode. Are you still there?
I'm trying to get up.
So you can, oddly enough, again, that dissonance between the bones have nothing to tie them together, and yet you stand up. You're in full skeletal form, and when you stand up, all the remainder of things that were still connected to you slough off. You are a skeleton Bits of black and red blood, depending on where you're seeing yourself in the light, are there. You can see clearly from your eye sockets.
So many jokes.
What? As I'm staring at my hands and I'm staring at this, the pain. Actually, is the pain gone? Because I would
The
assume
pain is
all
basically gone now.
Yeah.
You don't have nerve endings. As you think about it, you realize, well, that oddly makes sense, but it doesn't reduce you from the horror.
God.
Make another composure roll. You're gonna subtract 3 from this roll.
I still got it.
Very good. So as you're standing there, you start feeling weight. Weight starts to pull down your arms, and as you are looking at your arms, the bones start to grow. And as you look again, you're not thinking they're growing. The bones look like they are swelling. They look like they're swelling from the inside. And you watch the swelling go from your elbow up the bones to your hand, onto your fingers. Each of the front of the finger bones swells to the point where they are maybe the size of a cigar, and then they burst. You see the flakes of the bone from the end of your fingers start to cascade off, and it starts peeling back. Your fingers are falling away. As it gets to the hand bones, the hand is falling away.
No.
It gets to the wrist, and you no longer have hands. All 6 fingers have gone from each hand. Now you start feeling pain as it moves up towards your elbows.
No, God. I just wanted to. And I fall to my knees here, and I'm like, I'm up there. It's just like,
As you drop
I just
to your
wanted
knees,
to help people.
As you drop to your
wanted to
knees,
say-
the patellas both shatter.
Yeah.
The bones from knee to hip shatter. Your hips crash down. Go ahead and give me another composure roll, this time subtracting 8 from it.
I do not make it.
Okay. As you hit, you can feel the change come on you. But the only thing that is left to change is your head, which skins up, and you pass out again. So outside for you, Dr. Wright, he starts to move. The body starts to actually lift from where you're at. You do not see him opening his eyes. The eyes are starting to rapid eye motion move under there. Under the lids, the pupils are moving back and forth, but you are not seeing him open. His hands go down to his side, but you can, where you're holding him, you can see that he is not putting that much pressure to them. He comes up for a little bit, and then go ahead and give me a coordination roll as he loses all control and falls back.
Coordination. I'll use one of my rerolls because I'll be kind to you. 11?
Well, with an 11, you just keep him from smacking his head on the stones, but you have him down, and his breathing was starting to get close to hyperventilating. It is relaxing and calming back down.
I'll check out my stethoscope and listen to the lungs. Does it sound like his lungs are starting to get more clear? Does it sound like the fluid buildup? And I'll check his stomach to see if I see residual blood.
As you're moving around, if you remember from a few weeks back, his stomach had blotches on it.
Yes.
They are gone now. The skin around the stomach looks good. It doesn't look blotchy. It looks to be the standard single hued skin tone. His heart seems to be still racing but calming. The lungs seem to be clear, and he is starting to breathe on a regular basis, a calmer one that you would expect from somebody who's asleep. The rigidity to his neck and his head has gone down, and you got him laying calm there.
Now, I feel like I'd probably have an acute sense to be able to see this. I want to look at, one of the wounds, and I'm looking closely to see if I can see minute healing of the
If it's
tendons,
knitting.
even if it's small amount of knitting.
At present, no.
Okay.
And I'm going to assume that you stick at it for maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it does not seem to be changing. However, because he's not sweating into it, as you dab and clear the moisture, as you continue using the water that you were using for him to drink, now to clean him up, when you're clearing things away, it seems to finally be clean. The skin still has that slight brown tone to it, but it doesn't have the residual dried blood on it anymore. You're able to pull that off.
I'll try and give him a little bit more water because he just expelled.
And he seems to be taking it okay. You take it in small doses. If you're staying with the patient for the time that you should, for the next half hour, you work maybe a half a cup into his body.
All right. Ray, I believe he's going to make it.
That's good. I'm gonna go let you do your doctoring thing. I'm gonna go talk to Mei Ling.
Excellent.
So you head over to Mei Ling. Ayden, what are you doing at this point? You've handed, actually you and Raya, you've handed over the saddle, and I will
I'm
remind you
calling
guys.
it a Billings.
What's that?
I'm calling it a Billings.
Okay. And you guys are tired. You're really realizing
Yeah.
how tired now that you've had the chance to just kind of relax. You're in that tiny bit of warmth that's from the coming from the lamps around the cistern. It would be a nice time to go to sleep.
All right, I'll probably find a quiet corner then and roll into it.
So Raya, you're watching him leave. You've been up as well. As you look around, before you make a decision to go down, you'll notice that Maraud and Cal do not appear to be in the light.
But they are here.
You don't see them. The immediate thought is, well, they must be around the cistern. You don't see them. As you look around, you don't see them. Where the light hits, they are not.
Okay. I'm going to ask, who were they sitting with? Were they sitting with Mei Ling? Or were they sitting with...
Previously, they were around a number of the people, the injured people.
Okay.
Mei Ling might know where they were.
I'm going to
possibly.
ask her if she saw them go anywhere.
Mei Ling, as she's looking from you to Billings and then back to you, she says, the last I saw, they were over there, and she's pointing at the far edge of the cistern. Again, the cistern's a circle, but the far edge meaning closest to where the tunnels are, well over 100 feet away from the cistern, deeper into the cave.
I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to see if they're over in that area.
Are you taking light or just using the light where it's at?
Just using the light where it's at right now.
So you go out maybe 60, 80 feet, and it becomes the point where there's just not enough ambient light to see into the darkness. But as you move through there, they could be hiding in shadows, but you don't see them, you don't hear them, and you would expect that you would if they were anywhere within that haze range.
So I have tracking.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to temporarily take one of the lanterns. Do I see any tracks going off into the...
Go ahead and give me a roll. I'm just going to warn you ahead of time. This is going to be a very difficult roll. You are moving amongst broken stones in an old riverbed.
What's tracking?
Tracking is going to be under... It's survival, right?
Okay.
Yeah, right, there it is. Yes, tracking is under survival. No, tracking is tracking.
Okay.
So many games, so many skills.
So I only got a 10.
So with a 10, you're not able to find anything, which sadly you kind of expected would be the case. It would be very difficult. You were looking for the obvious thing, something overturned, an obvious scuff mark, but none of those.
I'll take the lantern with me, and I'll go a little ways into the tunnel.
All right, so as you get about 150 feet out from the bottom of the cistern, basically deeper in, the two tunnels go off right and left.
I'll call for them. I'll call for Cal. Maraud, are you there?
Okay. So
I'm not yelling.
Not yelling. So you're speaking in a loud tone. There's no response.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to the cistern. I'll set the lantern back where I got
Give me
it.
a wits perception roll.
14.
One of the other lanterns is gone. As you make a quick count, remembering where everything was set, there's a dark space which draws you to it. Now, one lantern is over with Dr. Wright. There are two spots that appear to be missing lanterns. So one of the lanterns is not there.
Okay. Where's Frankie?
Frankie is over by Dr. Wright, if I remember correctly.
About
Okay.
25 feet.
And thus
Oh, wait,
Dr.
not
Wolfe
anymore.
and Ray.
So I'm going to come over to you, and I'm going to say, Frankie, can I talk to you for a moment, please?
Of course, right?
And are you guys stepping away, or are you just doing
Yeah,
it right
yes.
there?
I'll follow her.
Okay.
I just want to say, out of character, this is hilarious because I've been wanting to explore the caves. I'm like, oh, caves, cool. I bet there's neat stuff in there.
Right.
And never got to it.
So, Cal and Maraud are no longer with us, and one of the lanterns is missing. I think they may have gone into the cave, into the tunnel at the back of the cave.
You think they're, making water?
I don't know.
Are you worried about them? Should we go look?
I am a little concerned. No one seems to have seen them leave.
I'm gonna look for Ray and say, we're gonna go check out the tunnels. We'll be back. And then...
Okay.
All right, I'll grab a lantern and we'll go.
And you guys will head in. All right.
Ray's going to make
Right hand or left hand tunnel? Yes, Ray. Oh, okay. Saw a finger go up.
Well, I went to go talk to Mei Ling, and I don't know if you want.
Yes, I do want to have that happen. So,
Okay, just make it-
right tunnel or left tunnel?
We'll start with Right.
Right hand tunnel. So, Ray, you
As
head
you
over
do.
to Mei Ling. They holler over to you, hey, we're heading this way. You're like, okay. And
Why are they telling me? I don't care.
For the record, Frankie's hierarchy of people is like Raya, Maraud, Cal, Ray, everybody else.
Whoa.
I kind of feel that. I've been seeing that. Okay.
Oh no!
Is
There is a trick to make you at the top.
Yeah,
that
there's
priority.
one person at the top of everybody. Whether you want
Doctors hate him. There's one trick.
So, Barry, before we go in, I want to find kind of a sharper rock.
That's very easy to do.
And as we go down the tunnel, maybe every 15 feet or so, I want to put some kind of mark
Okay.
on the
scratching
side of the wall.
Very
So
good.
that way we can find our way back.
So as you're scratching in, you'll realize that a good portion of the stone, if you'll call it that, is actually sandstone, and it is very easy to do that. And again, it was left tunnel, correct?
Right tunnel.
It is right tunnel. I'm going to write that down.
I'm gonna try to track them, because I have tracking.
Very good. Go ahead and give me a roll.
I'm gonna re-roll it. I haven't done that in a minute. I don't know nothing.
All right. So again, same thing. It's not, you didn't expect to find much, but you were trying. So Ray, up with Mei Ling. You come over to her. Billings has set that saddle off to the side and is actually leaned his head against basically the cushiony area of it and is starting to fade out.
Excuse me, Miss Mei Ling. May I have a moment of your time?
You may, Ray. What can I do for you?
I mean no disrespect by this, but
Please speak frankly with me.
back in Cairo, you did something to me. I don't even know the word for it. Was that a mere parlor trick, or was there something more, magic, I suppose is the word?
It's an odd word. It's been used and overused. What do you think happened? Did it have an effect, what I did?
I felt fine, but also I didn't feel anything. And honestly, my world's been rocked a little bit lately. There's a question I've been trying to get answered for a long time, and
She gently touches your arm, and you see that she steps away from Billings and gently tugs at your arm in the same way. She says, "Do tell me."
I lost someone several years ago. I heard stories of people being able to find certain people that were lost, and honestly, I was told they were dead, but I've never seen I never saw it for myself. I'm just trying to get that question answered.
You sound much like Dr. Wright. He is looking for somebody that he's lost, although he seems to have a connection. So you are wondering if they are dead? Is that the question?
Yes, that, as much as the answer terrifies me.
So you guys have walked maybe 15 paces away from Billings, and she looks around, takes a seat on one of the upright stones, and looks to you and says, "So tell me what happened. Tell me what you know."
9 years ago, I lost everything. It was my own fault. I know that my wife and daughter have passed. I watched that with my own eyes. The men that took them away, my boy, he was only a couple months old. They told me that to deal with him, they simply threw him to the pigs. But
Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying.
if the answer is that he's alive, it means that I failed as a father, that I never searched for him, that I never even bothered.
Did you search for him? You did not. You believe then that what they told you was true?
I did. But that night was the only fight I've ever lost. And it broke me. It's why I left. It's why I left London. It's why I traveled the world for a year. And frankly, when I fought that demon and I heard it speak of simply wishing to cause chaos to no other purpose. I looked into that demon's eyes and I saw my own reflection. For 9 years, I've wandered the world and I've done nothing. I didn't seek justice. I didn't seek the knowledge to know whether my son was alive or dead. I simply disappeared. I gave up that day.
You are Catholic, yes.
Raised.
You were Catholic?
Yes.
Raised such. So your journey that I overheard to Jerusalem was not a pilgrimage then. It was simply a place on a road map.
Aye.
So you would like to know if your son is alive.
Yes.
Do you carry anything of him with you besides hurt feelings?
I reach into my back pocket and I pull out a little stuffed rabbit doll that's a little bit singed. And I say, this used to sit in his crib.
So she holds out both hands. You do?
I'll give it to her.
So as you lay it there, you would believe that if this thing was made of thin glass strips, it wouldn't break in her hands. She is that gentle with it. So she turns it over, turns it back, says, this will do, and we can certainly try, but not here. The energies are not right. She hands it back to you. Does not, excuse me, I said it wrong. She holds up both hands, does not hand it back to you, but has her hands open so that you can obviously take it from her.
I will reach out and take it.
She says, you and I will approach this again. When we have a space where it is not cluttered, we will try. We will look for you. And I will endeavor to get you answers. I hesitate to bring her in on this, but there is a woman, a very young woman that I met. She's a friend of Dr. Wright's, a close friend if I understand it correctly. And she appears to have a different pathway to talk to people that may or may not be of this earth. We may have to talk with Dr. Wright as well to see if we can enlist her aid. But again, in time. I'm not passing it off, I'm not giving it up, but you'll be okay until we try. You've come this long, not to make light of it, you've come this long. A little longer, you will make it. And she puts her hand out onto your right bicep and gives you a very strong squeeze to it.
I'll be all right.
Good. Because we need you here. We need you focused on this. Again, I will focus on you when the time comes. I promise.
Thank you, Haley. Thank you.
All right, and so she'll walk back with you to where Billings, who is now out, and she'll sit down and she gives you a hand gesture to sit if you wish. Just gives it to you once, and then she herself sits down next to Billings.
Yep. Let's take a seat.
All right, so down the right-hand corridor, you guys are drawing into the wall, and again, it's very easy to make these arrows. You guys go down a ways, and you'll notice that the stones that you've been seeing start to loosen up, and you are now walking in sand, which eventually disappears into, you are now walking on just a jagged rock surface. As you're getting farther in, you guys are noticing that you are stepping through some pools of water here. You're guessing that somehow either this tunnel or the other tunnel is what either feeds the cistern directly or is part of the pool of water that bubbles up into the cistern. Back here, the smell is damp, but it is not foul. You guys are not finding any tracks, and as you get farther up, the water is getting wider. You're not yet deep in it, maybe 2 or 3 inches, but it is widening. As you're using the light, looking up and around, something is growing on the sides. I don't think either of you guys has natural history.
No.
Let's
Natural
try the
sciences?
left.
Yeah, let's go back and try the left-hand side.
So you guys walk your way out of that one, you turn around, and you go into the left one. So the left one almost immediately switches from broken rock to sand. Go ahead, both of you give me a tracking roll.
23.
8.
All right. So, Frankie, you've done this with monsters. It's not, Raya, it's just not something you would see at this point. But tracking, when you track on either dried ground or you walk in things that sift like sand, what you look for is disconnected, consistent patterns. And you start seeing them ahead. Whoever's doing it, you're guessing, is trying to cover it up. But you've caught the pattern now, and the pattern doesn't break. They've never heard about sandworms. So the pattern doesn't break as you continue farther up. At this point now, the branching, and I'm assuming you're still drawing in the wall every few moments,
Yes.
the tunnels start to branch. They branch up and they branch down. I'm going to just assume that you will follow the tracks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I tell if there's two or...
No.
Okay.
No. Whatever the person is doing to, I'm going to use the words obscure the tracks, what you're catching is the very edge. They're good, they're just not good enough because you found the pattern. It may not even be the pattern of their steps. It may be the pattern of what they're using to obfuscate the tracks.
After, a little bit of this, I will pause and say, if what we're following is Cal and Maraud, they're endeavoring to be secretive. Should we not respect their privacy?
What if they're in danger?
I suppose we can just apologize and leave if they are fine. Or if they're fine.
Okay.
So you guys will continue.
Yes.
All right. So for the rest of you around, I'm not sure that it would connect to you. Ayden, I believe you laid down to sleep.
Yeah, I'm sleeping.
Ray, when Mei Ling offered you to stay there, did you at least lay down to rest? Are you on full alert?
I am laying down to rest.
Okay. Dr. Wright, are you doing anything other than trying to work on Wolfe and maintain sleep or maintain your wakefulness? Or are you also going to succumb to it?
I guess my question is, I didn't feel energized by what happened to me. I'm tired, like I've been
Yes,
up. Okay.
yes. You feel better. You don't feel like you're on drugs.
So, I'll get Dr. Wolfe to a point, because what my body's been through, I medically know I should get some sleep.
Absolutely.
So I'll just kind of get him set up, and I just kind of like pat his chest a few times, be like, you'll be all right.
Reach up and caress his
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
as you do the gentle movements on him, there's no reaction that you don't expect.
And then I'll just like kind of get as comfy as I can, nuzzling into like a little. Imagining I'm near the wall, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll just find like a little indent that might fit me, and just try and get as comfy as I can, that's close enough to him.
Very good. So for the two of you, Frankie and Raya, it's about 30 minutes, and again, there's not thousands of branches, but maybe every 300 or 400 steps there's a branch, and the branches continue to go weird ways. Neither of you would know if this is or isn't natural, but in your head you kind of think, okay, if this is made by water rolling down somewhere, it wouldn't go like this. They seem odd. Just the overall layout of these back and forth tunnels. Nothing switches back, but you'll have a spot where one tunnel goes down and one tunnel goes up, and then you follow the up one, and then you'll kind of make a turn, which would then, in your minds, I mean, it's dark and you're still wandering, but you would feel like you're now crossing over the down tunnel, at which point there are two down tunnels. It's this weird back and forth. You could be completely off. You have a single light in absolute darkness, and that's going to mess with you. Plus, you've got the weird echoes. This side, you do not hear the drip, the water, any of that.
Well, Ray's got the cistern on lockdown. Frankie's assuming.
Yep, you assume. Good
So,
assumption.
I mean, we're just gonna keep going till
Yeah.
we can't.
So as we're going, I'm going to talk with Frankie a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Frankie, I think that once Dr. Wolfe is able to travel, we need to get back on to our mission while we're here.
I agree, Raya.
we need to be the ones to get the group to leave and to go find the temple and the city of Akhenaten that we're supposed to be finding.
This is our third day here, right?
Yes, you will. When you get to morning, it will be the morning of the third day. You will be fully healed.
I believe that tomorrow we will have finished what we were doing here. We can return the Bedouins in whatever state they may be, and then move forward. Yes.
I just want to make sure we don't lose sight of why we're here.
It is easy to be lost in many ways in the desert.
And it's important that once we find whatever we're looking for, that we get everybody back safely.
I feel that there is something beneath what you're saying.
I just want to make sure that when the airship lands, that everybody who's supposed to be on it is on it.
Understood. I'm sure we will all be safe on the return journey.
Okay. Well, I will keep you guys moving down the ways. About an hour in, you guys would, because you've been trudging through a low level of sand. Do both of you guys have high, Raya, you and Frankie, do you have high boots on? I know you're in effectively kind of a high, not a high heel boot, but a raised closed boot, Raya.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my whole gig is running around in the mud and stuff.
So I'm thinking combat boots kind of
All the
thing?
money that I have probably goes into good boots.
All right, so fair enough. So both of you guys have no trouble with I was expecting if you had shoes, there would be the need to drop out sand. About an hour in, you guys can definitely see, without a doubt, there is light coming around the bend, coming back to you. It's not directed at you, but you're seeing that glow as it's coming up.
I think that instinctively Raya and I would drop into shadowing just to
Okay.
approach.
Absolutely.
And so the lamp is put out, or
Yeah.
the lamp is shuttered?
If there's
Shuttered.
light ahead, yeah, we wouldn't douse the flame.
All right, so shuttered means that there's going to be a low light. Anyone's going to see it in the darkness, but the light comes around, and as it gets closer, you're going to hear Cal and Maraud, and Cal says to Maraud, I don't think that's going to be the way to go. I think at this point we stay with them, we continue to watch, and we leave later. And Maraud says, it is up to you. You have the choice in this. But my feeling is there's more going on. And Dr. Wolfe, there's a light up ahead. And Cal says, what?
And at that, I'll call out. I'll say, Cal, Maraud, it is Raya and Frankie.
Frankie? Oh, yes. And at this point, the light comes, a couple more steps, comes out and is fully on you, which he immediately turns it sideways so it's not shining into your eyes, and says, oh, wonderful. What can we do? What's up?
We saw that you were not near the cistern. We wanted to make sure you were safe.
My concern, and Maraud's as well, and he looks at Maraud. Maraud kind of looks back and nods. Our concern was that you guys had the front covered. The back, these tunnels, were something to be worried about. I know that Nod said when we spoke with him that it wasn't going to be an issue. But I just... Being prepared. Did you go down the right tunnel? So you saw that it eventually ends. Anything coming that way is going to end up swimming its way in. And I think anything that would swim its way up, we would hear long before it came through. So we were working this side.
Indeed, that was very clever of you to check.
I feel that any enemy that were to come this way would swiftly get lost.
Our concern was that maybe there was a way, some kind of... And Cal looks, holds up the lantern, turns the lantern up, and shines it. Do you guys look where he's shining? He's shining it directly on one of the arrows that you've drawn. And Cal looks at Maraud, and Maraud shakes his head, and Cal smiles and says, very smart. You guys have been marking the tunnels as you go.
Absolutely.
I thought for a moment we had missed something. He says, well, we should head back. We've gone through as much as we can find through here. Most of the tunnels eventually end up in dead ends, although there's a crisscross pattern that makes no sense. I wonder possibly if these were burial tombs for lessers at some point. If they were burial tombs for mummies, they've all been taken. But
You think that men made these tunnels?
I don't know that they made them. I think they may have expanded them. It's just odd the way they move back and forth. And Cal's going to go over with you guys if you're walking. Cal will continue.
Yeah,
walking.
we'll continue.
Cal's going to go over with you guys exactly the same thing. You guys were kind of wondering. Cal seems to have a little, and I mean a smidgen more knowledge about it than you. Talks about the fact that, if water had made these, water would not have run uphill. If the tunnels that run uphill were made by water, they should have gone down faster. I mean, he's not trying to impress you with his knowledge. He's trying to impress you with his concern of the situation. But at this point, he said, I'm not certain. Almost all of them end, as he starts, almost all of them end in a large opening, an end room that is not the size or width. They all get larger at that end. So something was done in here. Maybe years ago the Bedouins lived in here. I don't know. I have no way to know how old these are.
Were I to speak fancifully, they look sort of like termite columns with the open areas where the young are raised.
That's an interesting thought. I have not studied termites. I know of them, of course, but
Probably not many termites in your neighborhood.
Cal just kind of looks, and you can see is kind of trying to weigh whether or not that was some kind of thrown insult, and doesn't seem to take it as such. Maraud has a perplexed look and looks at you and says, that is not something I thought about, but I see it. Where I am from, the termites build mounds. Once a mound is broken open, it does. And then he gets an odd kind of just upward tick to his smile, and he says, I've never seen a termite that large.
Big bug.
I certainly hope not.
So, as you continue walking up, Cal will switch to questions about what is next on the agenda. Whether the Bedouins are helped or not, Cal is wondering what your feelings are as to the next step. And Cal will say, since we're away from earshot, at the beginning of this, my thought was Dr. Wright was the competent leader of the group, but I'm uncertain if that's the case. Were all of you tasked by Grayling in this endeavor?
Kinda. I'm supposed to bring back an Egyptian animate.
Truly?
Yeah.
May I ask to whom?
To Grayling?
When you say animate, a unliving one? Active? Animated? I'm uncertain how to say it.
Hopefully I can get it in the trunk while it's still kicking, but we'll see.
I think it's foolish and dangerous.
I have known Aaron a very long time. Foolish and dangerous are in his wheelhouse.
It's not our place to speak about our benefactor like that.
No, and I wouldn't expect you to. And Raya, you have as well a secondary objective?
That remains to be seen as of now.
Okay. Are you aware of anyone else with special parameters for what they need? My understanding was Grayling was chasing something within the tombs. Some information he felt his description to me was it will change everything.
I think as soon as Wolfe is able to travel, and as soon as the Bedouin people that we are with are either healed or passed on to the next life, we need to head to Akhenaten.
Cal kind of stops for a moment. You're thinking we're going to wait until they're one or the other?
No. Our deal with the Bedouins is 3 days in the cave, and then I assume returning them to their camp. From there, we go to the pyramid.
And okay, I kind of feel the same as well. And he looks at Maraud. So it's interesting. You guys are confident, having been at this length of time with them, not just in the tunnel, but in general. You are confident that Maraud is considered by Cal an equal. Mm-hmm. Cal seems to always look to Maraud for maybe confirmation But every once in a while, both of you are going to wonder if Cal is not looking to Maraud for leadership. Your quick estimate, seeing them, thinking about this right now, is Maraud is definitely older than Cal. And there's definitely more going on there than is being spoken about or openly showed.
Frankie completely understands. Maraud's very wise and makes very sensible decisions.
Okay.
It is an alternative lifestyle, but it is one that Frankie understands.
Okay. Interesting that you would go that route. All right. So Cal at this point says, so we're in agreement then. In at least the day after this coming morning, we will be heading back and heading on. And you feel that the city is the first place to go?
Yes.
And what do we do if the Bedouins don't survive? Even more, what do we do if Akbar doesn't survive? At this point, Nod seems to be very amenable to everything that's going on, seems to be almost friendly, but there was the altercation with Ayden.
Oh, yeah! Oh, man. I wonder if they're still gonna duel it out.
I hope not.
Oh.
You can't wish
I
that.
certainly hope not.
You can't wish. If Akbar passes and Nod is the one who takes over, and Ayden were to be successful in killing him, that would mean succession of a second leader in a very short time. And on the other side of it, if Nod was to overcome Ayden, we don't have a guide. Not that Ray is not a wonderful man, but he is not going to have the knowledge that we need in the desert.
You're not incorrect, but their honor is on the line.
That's true too.
For
I
both
don't
men.
intend to remind it.
No, I suppose
I agree,
wouldn't
Cal.
either.
Let's not remind them of such things.
But I will say again, one of the considerations was the Bedouins were supposed to take us to our next spaces. So then it becomes an issue of whether they survive or not, who goes with us.
Well, they promised.
Yes, I have been here only a few times, and when I say here, I mean Egypt and the area around. They do seem to be honorable people. They do seem to follow through on what they offer.
Worst case, we just take one hostage.
Cal just doesn't say anything, keeps walking, but you notice that there is definitely a smile. There seems to be an acceptable recognition of Frankie's thinking. So is there anything more that you guys want to talk about before we get back to the cistern area?
Specifically, nothing about Wright.
Okay. All right. Very good. That's interesting. Well, I mean, you guys will continue talking. I don't have more of the banter to give you guys at this point.
So I do have to say that because of what happened with Wright controlling Frankie, Raya does not completely trust Frankie as much.
All right, now you're not
Because
saying this to the group.
No.
You are saying this is
I'm
Raya's
saying
mind.
this.
Thank you.
This is what
Okay.
This is what my kind of logic is
All
here,
right.
and I'm saying it to you as the game master.
Absolutely.
That because I know he can be controlled, and he does not know he can be controlled,
Doesn't appear to be
that
the case.
he is maybe not as trustworthy as he used to be.
We're talking Frankie. So
Yes.
Maybe not as trustworthy. Okay.
Because Wright can manipulate him. He doesn't even know.
Okay. I see that. That makes sense.
Okay, but no, I was not saying that out loud.
Okay. For a little bit there, I was starting to think like, uh-oh, you guys were warned. So as you guys come out of the tunnel, you guys can see a ways away, you can see the cistern lamps. As you come closer, you'll reset your lamps. Cal and Maraud will each go check on a couple. And now that you're seeing it, both of you have seen them, there's a couple of these specific Bedouins that they have been around more than the others. If I remember correctly, we have a total of 12. Do we have all 12 beds back?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. We did go get
I think
them
we have
all.
all 12 beds, and all 12 beds are filled. Akbar is currently laying on a mat on the ground. But there are definitely a couple that they are not ministering to, but they seem to go check on, at which point they will go and lay down. You guys, as you come in, you'll notice that pretty much everybody is out. There's nobody in the front, for whatever that's worth. What do you two do?
I say, Frankie, why don't you get some sleep for a couple hours? I'll keep watch, and then I'll wake you.
Okay, so as you go to the front, Raya, go ahead and give me a vitality roll.
That would be a 12.
Okay, then give me a willpower.
Don't like that. Mm-mm.
This cave just keeps getting better and better.
Now you're all all going to go into my dream realm.
No. That's terrible.
I'm the devil now.
Hey, cool.
17.
With a 17, so you can definitely feel the energy has been sapped from you. The walk, the fighting over the last couple of days, the concern with Wolfe coming out of his dead sleep, all of the things that are going on, but you power through it for a few hours. You're going to power through because of where we're at for time to daylight, at which point you're going to go in with Frankie.
Yeah, and I'll wake him up and say, okay,
Very good.
it's your turn to keep watch.
So, Dr. Wolfe, you start to come to, your eyes kind of flutter open. As you look around, you're in the cave, immediate environments, or immediate thing to look at your hands and everything, you are intact. Everything is there. As you feel around, there's no bone sticking out. You still have your neck and esophagus, a voice box. As you feel, we got Sequoia good with the descriptions. You feel at your face, and you notice that your face has a number of cuts. They're stitched. You can absolutely feel that they are stitched, but they're not closed. Now, if it's only been a few hours since you passed out or put to sleep, whatever happened to you, they wouldn't necessarily be healed. But as you're touching at them, they're crunchy and stiff, which is not normal for you. Normally, those edges would not be like that. They would already be supple and starting to knit.
Yeah.
There is a large gash on the right-hand side of the face, actually where you're touching right now, on the right-hand side of your face. The gash goes from about the right ear to the middle of your cheek. In addition, you have a couple of cuts on your head, and all of them have that. Your hip is painful, but as you move, you realize that it's not hard for you to readjust the hip so that the pain goes away. It feels less like, yes, you were pretty sure it was broken. It feels less like it is broken and more like it is just muscles that haven't been moved for a while.
Twist one way and the other.
Well, as you twist one way, you'll notice Dr. Wright is very close by you. He is asleep.
There's a moment.
You'll see both your valise laid out and his valise closed, but laying near it. Near him as well. Nearer him than your valise is.
So there's a moment he's realizing he's seeing the people in their beds and everything like that. Aside from this, thinks this might be a little more real and happen. He looks at his valise and he feels his face again. He immediately goes down to his valise, opens it up, and he starts pulling certain things, and he's noticing certain things are missing.
Yes, all the things that you know by your character sheet that are missing are definitely missing.
Yeah.
As you're moving, you're feeling a few other things. You have pain in all the spots that you got hit with the needles. You have pain. That is another not normal feeling. This is not a feeling that you had in the past. I mean, every once in a while you'll have some tiny twinge, but not at the level where you're still kind of feeling like, oh. And as you touch, again, same situation. You feel the bump where the hole would be. The skin, I mean, we're not talking the skin is rock. What I'm talking about, the skin is basically scabbed in the area. It's not the nice, supple, pink healing skin that you would normally have. And everywhere now that you're starting to move a little bit, as you gently feel yourself up, everywhere that you were stabbed, that you were cut, you are feeling that skin is not healing. Most of them were small enough they're not stitched.
Right.
But I believe there was a strike to the leg that has been stitched. Yeah. As you put your hand into your pants to feel it, you'll notice that yes, it also has that crunchy feeling, for lack of a better, not supple. That's the better thing I'm going to say. The not supple feeling of skin.
So there's this sensation, and he's like, what on earth is going on? And he pulls out like his own, like he's pulling out his there's the stuff that's missing. He'll get to that later. Mm-hmm. He looks at that. It's like, okay, I guess they had to hit me twice. And I'm looking at that as I'm pulling things out. I'm pulling out certain fluids and stuff. I'm pulling out one small little blood sample, which was an old blood sample of myself from a while back, and I'm pulling out a needle. I'm like, and some swabs. I'm taking a peeling. Maybe not the stitches work, but at least one of the more open ones. I'm like taking a Q-tip.
All right, and you're basically running just into the edge.
Yeah.
You're not able to bring back fluid. There's a tiny bit of the flaking rust-colored blood that would be in a normal person's cut that is healing.
Right.
And I mean, just tiny bits of it. But it is, again, the thing that stands out more than anything else is it should be supple. It should be malleable. And it's fairly rigid. And we're not talking a huge area, not like it's a washboard and you can play it. Right. It's just the small little cut.
Yeah. But even then, that's still something else. And I grab, let's see if this actually does anything. Because I draw out a little, I try to draw out blood. Does blood come out? That's the big question. Right? Yeah.
So you draw blood. The blood is exactly what you would expect from it. There's nothing odd to it at this point.
All right, so comparing my old blood and a little bit, grabbing like, some chemicals and some, slides.
You're currently working in no light, but
I thought the lamp was still here.
No, he would have. That's what I was going to tell you. He would have put it out when he went out. But what I was going to say is, but there is a lamp there that you can light.
Yeah, that's what he's going to
All right.
do. And he's
when you're lighting,
full obsession.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a willpower roll.
See how this goes.
Your roll. I want the willpower if you can beat the obsession.
My obsession is a 1.
That's an 11 to overcome.
Actually, don't think I made this. No, I didn't.
Okay,
I did not make it. I missed by 1. So.
Not a problem. None of the outside world. I'm not going to give you any more outside world information. You're focused on what you're doing. So continue.
Yeah. So Wolfe is just fully in this. He's looking at this because obviously it's he doesn't know how long he's been out.
Correct.
But he's under something this is as he's testing the feel of the skin and everything like that. This is necrotizing.
Yeah, and it's different even than a normal cut that you would see on somebody who did not have any form of the throat serum or any type of regenerative. This is abnormal for a normal person.
Yeah, and there's parts of him that's going as he's muttering to himself on things well, throat serum originally did come from animates. I wonder if something happened that caused the healing factor to burn out, and maybe it's starting to get there, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case. As he's just muttering to himself, and he starts to do the comparison.
So, Raya, as you come in, it will be a bare moment, and you will notice that the lantern is on over where Dr. Wolfe and Wright are. Dr. Wright is leaning against the cave wall, appears to be asleep or dead, and Dr. Wolfe is working diligently on something directly in front of him. He's up.
I'm going to go over and kneel down next to Wolfe.
He does not seem to react to you, and by the way, the quick look at Wright, he's breathing.
Darn.
Oh, shucks.
Meth.
I just promised I wouldn't kill him. I did not promise anything else.
Wolfe's taking the original slide, and he's looking at his blood before the draw.
Right. Doesn't seem to be reacting to you at all.
Well, yeah. But then he takes the new one, and he puts his new slide under there, and he's looking at it.
Dr. Wolfe.
So go ahead and give me again another obsession roll.
Did you just shush her?
I did make it out of
all right, but so he shushes you. So he appears to be aware you're there. So now I need to give him
just a moment. He's like Raya. He's just one moment, please.
So I'm going to have to give me 2 rolls, each of them only if you have them. The first one is medicine, which I know you should have. Actually, I'm going to have you give me 3. The second one is thanatology.
I do not have that.
And the third one is the alchemy skill.
Okay.
So we'll do medicine first and then alchemy.
So medicine, that is 21.
So with a 21, there is an absolute definite difference between the 2 blood samples.
Okay.
The new one is missing. You're not in a position to be able to test much. The new one is missing a lot of the things that you were able to see in the old one and can still see in it. Somehow, you cannot guarantee the serum has changed irrevocably, but the serum in your blood has changed. The cells that are moving through there look more normal. You know what normal looks like. They look more normal, and they look in greater volume.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Alchemy.
Yeah, let's go alchemy then.
Did you just cure yourself of being a throat?
I'm gonna re-roll that.
He didn't.
I don't think he was necessarily cured. I don't think you can worther that out of there. That is an 18.
So with an 18, you will notice there, and again, you would require you a bit more of a lab and definitely more supplies. The other thing you're noticing in the blood is you are swimming with, for lack of a better word, crap in your system. Not only do you have more cells moving through there, in addition to that, you've got other substances moving through there. There are droplets that look like oil. And again, we're talking microscopic, but there are droplets that are in there that look like oil. You have a couple of things that you can't tell what they are, but they are more particulate than they are mobile. So they should be clogging things up. It is more human normal blood than the old blood is, but it is absolutely not human normal.
Yeah, there's this moment where it's just like, and for the first moment he looks over at Raya and goes, Raya, so sorry, I've been, there's a lot of questions I have, but
I'm glad that you're awake.
how long have I been out?
You've been out for 3 days. Do you remember anything that happened to you?
Yeah, so now you definitely are going to think about that. 3 days, 3 hours, maybe not. A day, maybe not. 3 days, absolutely shouldn't be like this. And what sticks in your mind is necrotizing. It shouldn't be happening to you anyway because you're alive
Right.
and you didn't have extreme cold, which then clicks in your head, well, there is fairly cold. Maybe they left you out there for a couple of days in the extreme cold, but that immediately goes from your head. At least most of them Wright might, but the rest would not.
Yeah.
But your flesh should have started knitting by now.
Yeah. And I'm just like, Raya, is anything happening to these wounds?
And he's holding the cuts on his head, which are stitched. They're closed.
So, I don't remember, but we had gone over the list of everything that was stuck in him.
Yes. And
With
I don't know that
Dr.
a couple
Wright.
of days later Raya would know, but Wright would definitely.
So I'm going to let you know that you were injected with a variety of things while you were in throat form.
Well, he goes and he looks at his
Dr. Wright
bag.
would
Right,
know
I was going to say, very quickly, with your ordered mind,
exactly
you're going to look in the valise and
what it was.
assuming everything is missing was stuck in you,
Yeah.
you know a number of things that you have in you.
Yeah.
The only thing I know for sure that you were injected with is tsetse venom.
Tsetse venom.
Do you look him in the eyes when you say that?
Absolutely.
Tsetse venom. Do you know anyone who has some?
I gave the vial to Dr. Wright.
You don't happen to have any sample or anything?
I gave him all I had.
Because I'm trying to see as he goes, he starts putting on one of his gloves there, and he, without even thinking, he takes the valise and opens it up and he goes, "Which one is it?" I'm just.
Did you think about the bomb that was in there?
No, he's like, what is with all the methamphetamine?
If I see it in there, I can help him find the vial.
Yeah, the nice thing with it is the only vial that is not white.
Okay, so I'm taking a small syringe sample. I'm not touching this stuff directly. As I take it, I'm taking a small sample of my old blood, putting it on the tray,
Okay.
dropping some of the tsetse fly venom in there to see what happens.
I put it on my blades when I was trying to stop you. I do apologize for that, but it was the only option at the time.
He's like, no, I understand. And it's like, and it's not like he's dismissing you, but he seems, whatever it is, he's more focused on what reaction's happening in the blood.
Give
It's
me an
more like a
alchemy roll.
sorry, not sorry. I tried to kill you.
I'm being polite.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't often
18.
get to say sorry
So
to
with
people
that
I'm trying to
alchemy
kill.
roll, as you are watching the interaction, you have immediately, you're already starting to suspect some things, but as you watch, the blood has no trouble overcoming the venom.
The tsetse fly venom's not the thing that's causing the issue. As a matter of fact, I don't think that actually had any effect on me whatsoever.
Go ahead and give me an intellect roll.
There's something more.
Can I share an
I'm gonna use
idea?
a post.
Had an
Use one of the
idea.
rerolls from the pool, if that's okay.
So,
It's not okay with me.
one of them might think about they're surrounded by sick people. He may have picked up what the others had.
20.
So with a 20, you'll correct yourself, although you will not correct yourself, of course, in front of Raya. You don't think the tsetse fly venom itself, on its own, would have done this.
No.
Knowing a little bit, and only a very little bit about the venom itself, you know that it could have one of the effects that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But again,
No,
on its
he
own,
actually does do correct himself, actually. He's not
in front of her?
No,
Okay.
he goes, well, no. I think on its own it wouldn't have done anything. I think whatever else was put in me probably had an effect, but I don't see how a triple dose tranquilizer, 2 reversion serums, I don't see how that would relate to each other. Was there anything else I was hit with?
I don't know. You'd have to speak with Wright.
Wright is right there.
Yeah, exactly. And he's actually going to reach over and he's going to, Dr. Wright.
Dr. Wright, you will come out of...
Oh, Wolfe, my boy.
First
You're
of all,
awake.
are you all right? First and foremost, I didn't hurt you.
Oh, I'm all right every day of the year.
When he
Yes.
says that, I glare at him and I get up and walk over to
Frankie.
kind of over where Frankie is, and I look at Wolfe and say, "If you need me, just let me know."
Good morning,
I
Raya.
will. I will do. Thank you, Raya. Thank you.
I give him a look like I'm disgusted by him.
Dr. Wright, I don't know what exactly was happening those last, when we were last speaking, but I haven't lost control like that in quite some time, so I can't say that wasn't me. The things I said and anything that I might have done. And then he sort of pauses and he goes, there's nothing I can ask for forgiveness on because I know that were things from within me. Darker parts of me.
My boy, you don't have to be sorry. We had a simple disagreement. A collegiate disagreement. And despite what you may think, Dr. Wolfe, despite our differences and the way we practice, the way we look at the world, I don't hate you. You aren't the first person to try to kill me. Although, I got to say you're the first Thrope that tried to kill me directly.
Right. I was just looking at my blood samples. I had a little bit of my... I periodically keep samples of my own blood to check the progress. Raya was kind enough to let me know about some of the things I've been injected in, but it's not adding up. Tsetse fly venom. That I can understand, but mixing with something else, it's not making sense. Triple dose, the reversion serums, I don't see that connecting. Was there anything else I was hit with? And I do not care what it was. I need to know.
Oh, Dr. Wolfe. My boy, Dr. Wolfe, lad, we went through quite a thing. I went through quite a thing. Afterwards, after all of it, Raya herself attacked me out of nowhere due to our little argument. But despite that, despite being shot by one of those Bedouins, you might be interested to know that I actually helped some people last night. Fixed them up. Actually, specifically people you harmed. Some of them got away, lad. But something more, I had a bit of an experience last night, and well, I'm feeling pretty good today. So, So, in the interest of scientific discussion, I am going to be frank with you. I ran an experiment too. I'd been carrying around something with me for quite some time for a rainy day, and well, considering my life was on the line, and considering I thought that I may be the one to actually have to fight you, well, I thought I'd bring out the stops, although I didn't get to use my very special one, which I'll save for later. But have you ever heard of Werther?
Yes, you have.
And that's when things click into place for him. And then he sits back, and he's sitting back, and he's thinking about everything that's connected. He goes, Dr. Wright, if I'm correct, what you're saying has been put into inversion serums, 2 doses of it, triple throat trank, Werther, and tsetse fly venom.
And if I remember correctly, you also had not the reversion serum, but the one that keeps him calm.
Oh, the
suppressant.
Suppressant. Yes, the suppressant was in there as well.
Yeah.
And I believe it was both the triple and the double trank?
No, just the triple.
Just the triple.
Yeah.
Okay, the double is still here. Okay.
I thought it was the double.
It was the double and the triple.
No, he never got to hit me with the double.
That's right. Okay.
Mine.
So back to it, sorry.
Yeah. And he goes, Dr. Wright, I should be dead.
Yes.
There's no, you don't understand. I should be dead. All that combined together, there's no way I should be sitting here. I should have dropped dead, and you wouldn't even have been taking care of me for 3 days. I'd be a corpse.
Dr. Wolfe, give me a vitality roll, and Frankie, Raya will wake you up. And I'm sure that she will tell you and point that Wolfe is up and the two of them are talking. Where do you go? It is light outside.
Got an 11.
So it's morning time?
Mm-hmm.
Let it roll.
Are they just look like they're just talking?
Two of them are definitely talking. They do not look heated at all. They almost look like colleagues sitting there in a discussion.
Okay,
A collegiate discussion.
I would ask Raya for a moment more of her being on alert, and then I would go over and start praying over the Bedouins.
Okay.
Pull the little cross out and just do a quick morning, thing.
Yep.
And then I would go watch the front.
Very good. So, as you're telling him you shouldn't be alive, you will notice this first as he's talking through it, but quickly you're going to be aware that you are coughing again. Frankie, you're going to hear it as well. And the coughing gets more and more, at which point you are going to vomit. What comes out is black. You pass out, and we will end there tonight.
Again with this?
I'm so glad I'm not over there.
Right, well, this is what I was asking a couple of times. Like when
I've escaped twice.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to another NCRP Productions podcast. To stay on top of everything we're doing, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook, all at NCRP Productions. You can show your support and help us continue to produce content by joining our Patreon. We offer additional podcasts like our B-sides and have GM materials, maps, and other fun things you can discover over time. You can find our podcasts on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, and many other fine podcast sites. Just look for us at NCRP Productions. We value your thoughts, so please don't hesitate to leave us feedback or comments. And if you would like to contact us directly, you can email us at ncrpproductions@gmail.com.